Now for the top story reaction, joining us from Washington, Heidi Przybyla, senior political reporter for USA Today. From Little Rock, Arkansas, Julie Pace, the Associated Press White House correspondent. Anything I am missing in my analysis, Julie?
No, I think you hit it right on the head when you said that Super Tuesday will really tell the tale of this election. Right now, Donald Trump certainly has momentum. He is three straight wins. Certainly has given him an edge in the nomination, but this is really about delegates. And after Super Tuesday, I think that we will be able to see how much of a delegate lead he has if he's able to maintain that momentum. And for Rubio and Cruz, this test just gets harder and harder. You keep hearing these candidates pushing the benchmark back. First, we were talking about Trump being out of the race after last summer, then after November, then once voting started. Now all of a sudden we're hearing about March 15th is the new day when we'll see Rubio rise up. But once he gets through Super Tuesday, if he's able to keep up this pace, it's going to become much more difficult for Rubio or Cruz to stop him. All
right, I understand, Ms. Przybyla, that only 10% of the Republican delegates have been given out so far. So you got 90% in play. And even though Trump has momentum, he's still got to get more than half of those. So it looks to me like there isn't, what the media is saying is that's inevitable in a lot of the precincts. It's inevitable. Trump can't be stopped. Well, but it looks to me that he could be stopped, but I don't know how. Who's going to stop him?
Well, that's almost malpractice, right, to say that he's inevitable. Let's go back to 2012 when Mitt Romney was back on his heels. Rick Santorum had trounced him in a few races, and you know, he came back. So these races are very fluid, but you make a very good point. Who is going to be that person? It looks to me like, if anything, Rubio is rising, Cruz is falling. I think it was devastating that Cruz walked out of South Carolina without a single delegate, considering that the SEC states that follow were supposed to be his strong suit. So I also don't buy, however, Bill, that winnowing this down to a two-man race is necessarily gonna whip the support away from Trump, because as you look at Nevada,
I don't think it would whip the support away from him, but it would give the sole contender more of a chance. So if Kasich and Carson go, that's about 10% of the electorate right there. If Cruz or Rubio go, that's another 20%. That's in play. Now, some of them would go to Trump.
That's in play. That's
right.
The operative word, right? Because we don't know. These polls aren't reflecting what's going to happen, for example, with Jeb's voters. We don't know. There's a lot of
but Trump
unknowns.
He's so definitive, Ms. Pace. He's so definitive. Not a lot of wiggle room with Donald Trump. Not a lot of undecideds about Donald Trump. You either like him or you don't. It's not like, well, gee, I just can't figure out whether I like Donald Trump or not. So if it were a two-man race, now why do you agree with Heidi that Cruz got hurt in South Carolina and then he comes in third in Nevada? Is he on the downside, in your opinion?
I think he's in trouble. I mean, South Carolina was pivotal for him because it was the first test of his strategy, which really was to head into the South, pick up evangelical voters, show the strength of his big operation in a state with a larger population where you can't necessarily go to every single county over the course of many months like you can in Iowa. And all along, his campaign has pointed to South Carolina as the start of his southern firewall. And the first piece of that didn't work out. If you look at polling, you know, I'm in Arkansas, one of these SEC states that's going to vote on Tuesday. If you look at polling, which isn't incredibly reliable in some of these places, but he's in tough competition with Donald Trump, and Texas is going to be crucial for him. If Ted Cruz can't win in his home state of Texas, where there are a ton of delegates up for grabs, then it's really unclear where he goes from there.
And Trump is popular in Texas because Trump's populist message that he's going to make America great again, and he doesn't really care about party politics, is getting people excited. Now, on the front of the elites in the Republican Party, and you're in the Washington, D.C. area, Heidi. I mean, they're crazed. Just today, Mitt Romney came out and said to Neil Cavuto, look, Trump's got to put his tax returns out there because there may be bombshells in there. Mr. Trump has not done that. He says he will, but he hasn't done it thus far. So, and then you're getting a lot of endorsements for Rubio. Rubio seems to be the establishment pick right now. Would you agree with that?
That's where the donors are going, certainly. And if you look at who's able to assemble the broadest coalition, who can appeal in states, both in the South as well as the Northeast, who can start to, meet that viability threshold in some of these states and even survive until we get to the point of Florida, where I think might be the telltale sign for whether Rubio is going to be able to mount any kind of credible challenge here, is if he takes Florida. Now, if Cruz takes Florida, or if Trump takes Florida, I really think it's all over at that point.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, and Florida is the 15th of March after a Super Tuesday. Ladies, thanks very much. We appreciate it. Next